Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We are going to review the branches of government that we talked about last week. Who can tell me about the legislative branch, what they do? Yes, Megan.
They make the laws.
That is excellent. Yes, they do. The legislative branch of government contains the Congress and the Senate and is responsible for voting and deciding on the laws. Okay, who can tell me about the executive branch of government? Yes, Amelia.
Is it the branch that has our president and vice president?
Exactly. The executive branch of government is headed up by our president and vice president and is responsible for approving and carrying out the laws that the legislative branch makes. This branch of government makes all laws official. Okay, that will lead us to our third and final branch of government. That's going to lead us up for our field trip that we have next week. Who can tell me what that branch is? Any guesses? Yes, Mackenzie.
The judicial branch.
Very good. The judicial branch actually interprets the laws. They actually determine who has broken the law and what the consequences could be for breaking the law. The judicial branch of government is made up of the court system. Courts decide arguments about the meaning of laws, how they are applied, and whether they break the rules of the Constitution. Without courts, it would be difficult to ensure that justice is served when people are accused of breaking the law. Our field trip on Friday is to the Cobb County Superior Court, which is the highest level court in our county. This court is responsible for hearing the most serious of cases: divorces, adoptions, and civil matters where two people or companies have a dispute that needs to be resolved are handled in Superior Court. This court also hears cases involving people committing crimes that are considered felony crimes, such as theft, armed robbery, and even murder. Okay, we're going to talk about why the judicial branch is so important. Evan, do you have a question?
I have two, actually.
Go ahead, Evan. What's your first question?
Is prison the same thing as jail?
Yes and no. Both prison and jails hold individuals that commit crimes. But the biggest difference is that jail is where people are held before they appear in court. Once they've been found guilty in a court of law, they are sentenced to prison. And what's your second question?
What's a felony?
Well, crimes are considered either a misdemeanor or a felony, depending on how bad the behavior is. A misdemeanor crime is punishable by less than 1 year in a jail. Some examples of crimes that would be considered a misdemeanor are reckless driving, vandalism, trespassing, or even petty theft. A felony is a more serious crime punishable by a greater amount of time in prison. If you committed a crime such as armed robbery, kidnapping, or even murder, you would have to appear before a judge in Superior Court. Yes, Chase, you had a question?
My dad said he got a summons in the mail and he has to go to Superior Court next week. Does that mean he's in trouble?
Not at all. What that probably means is that your dad got a jury summons. Any U.S. citizen over the age of 18 can serve as a juror. It's really important to be as a juror. You come in and you actually get to hear the evidence and determine on whether or not an individual is innocent or guilty of an accused crime. Our Constitution refers to something called due process, which very simply means that everyone has the right to be treated fairly by the government. One of those rights is the right to a trial by jury, where an impartial group of citizens must decide the outcome of the case after weighing all the evidence that has been presented to them. Yes, Carlton?
So if a jury decides if a person's guilty or not guilty, then why do they need a judge?
That's an excellent question. During a jury trial, the judge acts as a referee or an umpire at a ball game. The judge makes sure that everyone plays fairly and that no one's constitutional rights are violated. The judge also plays a very big role in what is called the sentencing phase of the trial. If a jury finds the accused guilty of a crime, then the judge has to decide how they should be punished. In some situations, a jury may not be needed, such as in a divorce case. This type of trial is referred to as a bench trial, or a trial decided by a judge. The Cobb County Superior Court has 10 judges serving on the bench. Judges are elected by voters and serve a 4-year term before they are up for re-election. These judges work hard to make sure that our rights are protected and that justice is served. Yes, Ellie?
I think I want to be a judge when I grow up. What do you have to do to become a judge?
You would make an excellent judge. Actually, it takes a lot of hard work, education, and dedication to be a judge. First, you must graduate from high school and be accepted into college. After graduating, you have to attend law school for 3 years. After you finish law school, you must study very hard and pass a very important test called the bar exam. To be qualified to be a judge, you must be 30 years of age, have been a lawyer for 7 years, and a resident of the state for 3 years. Let's talk about who else plays an important role in the courtroom other than the judge and the jury. Does anybody have any ideas who any of those individuals might be? Yes, Mackenzie.
The person who committed the crime.
That's excellent. The accused is known as a defendant. It's really important to know that all defendants are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Who else would be in the courtroom on behalf of the defendant? Anybody? Yes, Amelia.
A lawyer?
That is awesome. That's correct. An attorney is a licensed individual who's gone to law school and is able to go ahead and represent anybody, including a defendant, in a court of law. Lawyers give people advice on how to handle their case. Lawyers must attend law school after they graduate from college in order to practice. They have a tremendous amount of knowledge regarding the law and know your legal rights. That's why they play such an important role in the courtroom. There's actually another type of lawyer that also works in the courtroom. They are sometimes referred to as the prosecutor or prosecuting attorney. It's their job to prove someone guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a trial. They work for the district attorney, who is another very important person in the judicial system. The district attorney decides who will be charged in a crime and what their charges will be. Would anybody else like to guess who else might be found in a courtroom? Yes, Megan.
A witness?
That is correct. Wow, you've really done your homework. All of you guys, excellent job. A witness is somebody who has been subpoenaed to come to court, and that way they tell what they've seen or heard in that particular case. For example, your neighbor might have witnessed someone breaking into your home. They might come to court as a witness and tell the judge and/or jury what the burglar was wearing or what kind of car they were driving. This statement of facts is called a testimony and is presented as evidence during the trial. Yes, Ava.
What if someone lied about what they saw? How would the judge or jury know if they were telling the truth?
That's a great question. A witness is given an oath before they take the stand, and that oath basically tells them to tell the truth and only the truth. If the witness lies on the stand after taking the oath, they are committing a very serious crime called perjury. Perjury is a felony crime that is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. That punishment would pretty much tell anybody to go ahead and tell the truth, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. Another person that we've not talked about is the court reporter. Now, the court reporter sits in the courtroom by the judge, and they take down every single thing that is said in the courtroom. Can you imagine how difficult that must be? Yes, Luke.
How do they write that fast?
That's a great question, Luke. They actually don't. Court reporters use a special typewriter called a stenograph machine. That lets them type at speeds of up to 225 words per minute. They are able to do this because the machine has a syllable-based system of 24 keys to spell words phonetically, or the way they sound, rather than how they are actually spelled. After court is finished, the court reporter will go back and look at what they have recorded and create what is called a transcript, or an official record of everything that was spoken in court. This is important because if there was ever any doubt of something that happened in court, we always have a record to look back to and refer to.
Oh, I know another person in the courtroom, police officers.
That's right. You're on the right track, Trey. Police officers actually serve a very different purpose at the courthouse than you might think. Oftentimes, you will see police officers at the court as witnesses testifying in a case. Sheriff's deputies are also uniformed officers, and they are responsible for the safety of all individuals in the courthouse. They are the only officers who are allowed to carry weapons inside the courthouse. All police officers coming to the court on official business must lock up their weapons in a secure location before entering the building. Sheriff's deputies are always present in every courtroom. They are there to make sure everyone is safe. Another responsibility the sheriff deputy has is to bring the accused who are in custody to the courthouse from the local jail. They safely escort all inmates from the holding cells outside the courtroom so that the accused can appear before the court regarding their case. Now, another person that we've not discussed that is an important person in the courtroom is the courtroom clerk. The courtroom clerk makes sure that the judge has all the necessary paperwork and also makes sure that all evidence presented during a trial is filed or transferred to the Superior Court Clerk's office, which is where all the files from cases are stored. The Superior Court Clerk's office is the official record keeper of the court, and they maintain and store all the paperwork and evidence here. Another very important responsibility of the clerk is to read all of the charges that the district attorney has brought forth against the defendant, along with administering the oath before witnesses take the stand. We talked about this oath earlier. It goes something like this. Raise your right hand, Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this following testimony? And last but not least, we have the courtroom bailiff. The bailiff is a person who commands respect for the judge and says, "All rise," when the judge enters the courtroom. The bailiff makes sure that everything runs smoothly by assisting the judge when needed and also ensures that everyone in the courtroom obeys the rules. During a jury trial, the bailiff will escort the jurors to and from the courtroom when needed. Since we're talking about the bailiff and how he enforces the rules in the courtroom, this might be a good time to talk about what the rules are going to be when we go to the courthouse on Friday for our field trip. First, it's always important to be on time. Plan ahead so you are never late. Never bring food or drink or chew gum inside the courtroom. It is very important to make sure you turn off your cell phones. If your cell phone rings in the courtroom, the bailiff might ask for your phone to make sure that it doesn't cause any other distractions. Never talk inside the courtroom unless the judge or a lawyer inside the courtroom asks you to. And if the judge asks you a question, always stand up and address him or her as your honor. Last but not least, you should always dress nicely for court. Do not wear any clothing that shows too much skin or pants that hang too low. Well, from the sound of it, you guys are all ready for your field trip on Friday. Please make sure that all your permission slips are signed and turned in, and please turn in your homework in the basket on your way out. You all have a wonderful day.